Hey everybody, it's Gina Page from AfricanAncestry.com. Welcome to our Wednesday Facebook Live broadcast, and I'm glad to be here with you. You know, lately we've been getting questions about our test and what you're going to get with our test and how our test is different from the other tests out there. And so I want to address those questions for you, and hopefully you'll share this with other people you know. Just last week I was in a meeting in Atlanta, and people were telling me, there were some people there who said that they had taken a DNA test with another company like AncestryDNA.com or 23andMe.com, and they were disappointed because they didn't find out where in Africa they were from, and that sort of cast a negative light on our test, when in fact our test is the one you want to take if you want to know where in Africa you're from. You know, this industry has several companies now. When we started the company in 2003, there were only 2 or 3 other businesses in the industry, and none of them was focused on black people. So we carved out and created the niche for black people who wanted to know where in Africa they came from. We did that in 2003, and we're still doing it today. And though the industry has grown, private equity firms have bought into companies, you know, companies have sprung up to answer lots of different questions. They can tell you other people in the world that you're related to. They can tell you what your genetic traits are, what your health traits are. They can tell you how much of different ancestries you have. But there's only one company that can tell you where specifically in Africa you have roots, and that's AfricanAncestry.com. So let me tell you how we do that. We have 2 tests. One traces mitochondrial DNA. For those of you who are science geeks, you know what that is. For the rest of us, that's DNA that we inherit from our mothers. And it doesn't change over generation to generation to generation. So I have the same mitochondrial DNA as my great, 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 great grandmother, going back 500 to 2,000 years. The matriclan test looks at that mitochondrial DNA and compares it to DNA from all over the world. When we find that the ancestry matches with African DNA, we then go into the African lineage database. That's a database that we own, AfricanAncestry.com, and it's the largest database of African lineages in the world. Our closest competitor has 621 samples. We have 33,000. That's like 5,300% bigger than the closest competitor. So when other companies can't tell you where in Africa you're from, it's probably because they have fewer than 1,000 samples. So we compare your DNA sequence, your genetic fingerprint, if you will, to the database of lineages from all over Africa. Our database has 40 countries represented and hundreds of ethnic groups. And then we tell you what we find. So we're not going to say that you're African. We're not going to say that you're West African. We're not going to say that you have some percentage of African ancestry. We're going to say you share ancestry with the Mbundu people living in Angola, or the Jola people living in Guinea-Bissau, or like we told Oprah, the Pele people living in Liberia. That's how specific we get. So if you want to know how much African ancestry you have, we're not the company for you. If you want to know who else in the world, all the people in your family tree that you may be related to, we're not the company for you. But if you want to know where your roots were before Mississippi, before Virginia, before Alabama, before Haiti, before Jamaica, before Honduras, then we're the company for you. All right, so that's on the mother side. Then we also look at the Y chromosome. And the Y chromosome is what men inherit from their fathers. The Y chromosome doesn't change over time. So my father, I don't have it because I'm a woman. My father has the same Y chromosome as his father and his father and his father, and so on, all the way back for at least 500 to 2,000 years. And so we're going to compare the genetic fingerprint, if you will, of the Y chromosome to those Y chromosomes in our database. Remember, I told you our database has over 33,000 lineages in it, not 494, not 621, 33,000. And so we then can tell you if the ancestry is African. If it is, then again, we get very specific. If it's not, we'll tell you what it is. Is it Asian? Is it European? But it's only going to be one thing. And I think that's where people kind of get confused, because these other companies they've redefined the narrative of what you should think is important as a black person. They are telling you that you should think it's important to know how much of a certain ancestry you have. And I think that that's nice to know information, but certainly none of you thinks that you're 100% African, right? I mean, you all know history. You know that inherent in us being African American or Africans in the Americas and the Caribbean, that there was some mixing going on. So we're not trying to figure out how mixed up we are. We're trying to get to the root of who we are. And the root of who we are lies in those cultures and traditions and practices that our ancestors engaged in before we were brought here. Shadid is asking how you can get in touch with our company. You can call us at 202-723-0900, or you can shoot us an email. Go to AfricanAncestry.com. All the contact information is there. That's AfricanAncestry.com. We'd love to talk to you. Eddie Meeks, thank you. We're so glad that you see the value in what we do. And that leads me to what the next thing I want to talk about is. So our test costs more than the other companies. It does. With the other companies, you can pay $99, $79 if it's on sale. And they're going to tell you that you're African. So I'm going to tell you that for free. If you're a black person living in America, if you're a black person anywhere around the world, because I know we have people who watch us from all over the world, and we love you for that, you are African. And chances are you're West African. Okay, you know that. You don't need to pay someone to tell you that. What we tell you is specifically the present day country and the ethnic group in Africa that you share ancestry with, and that price is $299. Now, some people say, oh, why does it cost so much? Other people say, oh, that's all? So to the people who ask, why does it cost so much? My question is, well, what do you think it should be? What do you think the price should be? Do you think it's worth $100? To know that very valuable information? If so, then get two other family members. Each of you put in $100, and together you've got a test. Because see, only one person has to take the test, and then all of you are going to share the results. So my test results are the same for my mother, her brothers and sisters, my cousins' children, my grandmother, her brothers and sisters, their children. So my, aunts, uncles, everybody in the family shares the results of one test. With the $99 test, those results, those percentage results, are the same for you and your siblings. That's it, provided that you both have you have the same parents. So you can't share those results extensively throughout the family. I can't emphasize enough the importance that this information has on black identity. That's why we're here. Our purpose is to transform the way we view ourselves as black people and the way we view Africa. And you all know that there's a full frontal attack, an all-out assault on us as black people right now. It's nothing new, but it's intensified. And if you don't have a sense of who you are that's rooted in where you come from, then you're going to just be, moving with the wind and get battered around by all these other forces. But when you know who you are, you're firm, you're rooted, and you're not going to move. You're going to be singularly focused on what's important for you and your family going forward. You all know that the concept of Sankofa, which comes from the Akan people in Ghana, you have to go back and understand your past in order to move forward. AfricanAncestry.com is an opportunity to do that. So we have two tests. I told you one traces mother to mother to mother on back, going back 500 to 2,000 years. And that's because the lineages in our database are that old. We can't say, 20 generations ago or 5 generations ago. There's just too much error and variation in that kind of estimation. But we know that the lineages in our database are anywhere from 500 to 2,000 years. And so we're giving you the people who are living in these present day countries that information. So Salima, you said you're still confused. Tell me what you're confused about and I will clarify. Deandra wants to know, what about father? So Deandra, as a woman, if you want to know your father's line, you need a male from that line to take the Patriclan test. That can be your brother, it could be your brother's son, it could be your father, it could be one of his brothers, it could be one of their sons, it could be your grandfather. So you would get one of those men to take that test. I'm glad that helped. And please, your name just went on. Oh, there you are, Salima. You need, it says I'm 33% Irish. I don't know if it's from my mother or my father. Exactly. Those percentage tests don't really give you much information. I don't know if it's from your mother or your father either. So as a black person, well, what I'll say is we find, so most of the people that take our tests are black, right? We find that when we trace the maternal line, mother to mother to mother to mother, there is 9 out of 10 people find African results. So the maternal results tend to always be African, 92% of the time. When we trace a paternal line, like Deandra's going to do, father to father to father, those results come back African about they come back African 65% of the time. So when we're mixed and we're some part African, mostly African, and some European, generally it's because of a white man somewhere in our family tree, or white men somewhere in our family tree. So Salima, again, I can't tell you whether you're 33% Irish, which part of the family it comes from. But based on what you know about your family, you might want to, you can give us a call, we can walk you through it. But if you trace your maternal line with us, there's a good chance that that's part of your African ancestry and not your Irish ancestry. Deandra, yes, you can buy 2 kits. But as a woman, you can only do the maternal side, and you'll have to give the paternal test to that male relative. So women cannot do both sides. Women can only do one side. Men can do both sides. Hey, Carla Creech. Carla, oh my goodness. I haven't seen Carla Creech in like 16 years or something crazy. Okay, so those are the kinds of answers that you can expect. You will find out the ancestry of your mother's line or your father's line. When it's African, it's going to be specific to a present day country in Africa and an ethnic group or tribe. So one test is $2.99. If you buy 2 tests at the same time, there's a $50 discount, and so the total is $550. This is a great time to get the test because these results, like I said, can be shared by everybody in the family on that line. So if you get a test kit, you can give it to someone for Christmas or for Kwanzaa or Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Shout out to our Jewish culinary historian, Michael Twitty. And then you can give them the results. I'm not sure that you'll be able to get the results in time for Christmas, but you could give them the results and then give them the kit, and then in Black History Month, you guys could celebrate where you're from. So yeah, I encourage you, and I encourage you to get your family members to pitch in. This would be a great present for the matriarch of the family or the patriarch of the family. If each person puts in $50, you guys can have a kit in no time. So Kakande, I hope I said your name right. That's a pretty name. I'm in Trinidad and Tobago. How can I be helped to trace my ancestry? Go to AfricanAncestry.com and we'll purchase a kit and we'll send it to you in Trinidad. We have a number of people from Trinidad and Tobago who've taken the test. So we can send the kit anywhere in the world that you are, and then we'll send you your results once they are finished. Okay, and then one of the things that we give when we tell you your results is we give you what we call a sequence similarity score. So we don't just tell you you're from this place. We tell you how confident we are in that result. Because again, we're taking your genetic fingerprint and we're matching it to genetic fingerprints, if you will, from Africans across the continent, mostly West and Central Africa. Most of the time we find identical matches. So that means every part of your sequence matches every single part of the sequence in the database. If it's not an identical match, then we tell you the closest related matches. So we'll tell you if the score is 99.6% the same, or if it's 99.2% the same, or if it's 98.6% the same. If it's not identical, we tell you the closest we can find, and we tell you how close it is. Yeah, I don't have any comments on Waka Flocka claiming that he's not of African ancestry. I don't even know his music, to be honest. I don't know what he looks like. Here's what I'll say about identity. Identity is a constantly evolving narrative of self. We get to be whoever we want to be. And so if Waka doesn't want to have African ancestry, he's entitled to have that be part of his identity. The reality is, though, when he's walking through the world, they're going to see him as a black man. So that's all I can really say about that. The test takes about 6 to 8 weeks from when we receive your swabs. So it's and sometimes they come back sooner. Sometimes, unfortunately, they take a little bit longer. But we try and get them to you within 6 to 8 weeks. We trace to present day groups, exactly, Deandra. So our database is comprised of people who are living on the continent today who have said, my family is indigenous to this present day country and we belong to this ethnic group or tribe, however you want to call it. And so that's what we're going based on. I didn't say that right. That's what we're basing our analysis on, the self-reporting of the people who are in our database. So why African ancestry? Wait, I have another question. Khadijah wants to know, can my male second cousin get paternal results for me? He's my grandfather's sister's son. No, he can't. Well, he can't get your grandfather's father to father to father line because he comes from your grandfather's sister and not your grandfather's brother. I hope that makes sense to you. He has a different father than your grandfather does. But Khadijah, it's really exciting that you have this cousin. Because he's your grandfather's sister's son, he can take a maternal test and get your grandfather's mother's line. So you can still find out information about your grandfather's side of the family. It'll just be through his mother and not his father. And quite honestly, that's the line that's most likely going to be African anyway. Please give us a call or shoot us an email because we can walk you through that. Jermaine says, thank you. Oh, I appreciate you too. Yeah, ask me about somebody I know. We have lots of rappers who have taken our tests who are excited to know where in Africa they're from. Oh, okay, Khadijah, great. Can you get your great uncle to test? Yes, but you have great uncles on both sides of the family, so I need to know which which great uncle you're talking about. Are you talking about your maternal grandmother's brother, or are you talking about your paternal grandmother's brother, or even your grandfather's brother? I need more information on which. Okay, so does your does that great uncle have the same last name as your dad? Let me know that, twin. what if that great uncle has your dad's last name. Bill, we can help you. We can help you fully know your ancestry at one branch of the tree at a time. So you can start with one test, see where that leads you, and then when you're ready, get another test. We offer discounts to our African ancestry family members, and that's another thing you get when you're part of our family. We have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group just for the African ancestry online communities, and they are on fire in there. They're posting up their certificates, they're sharing their stories and videos about their trips, about their languages, the best way to get to the country, all kinds of information. So, that's another reason to join our tribe, if you will, so that you can have resources among people that share your roots. So, yes, twin, you can use your grandfather's brother, and he can take the patriclan test, and that'll give you your father's line. He could also take the matriclan test, and that will give you your grandfather's mother's side. Khadijah, we don't have any trips going back to Cameroon right now, but stay tuned, because when you're in the online community or our Facebook group, we've changed the name, so I got to get used to saying the right terminology. But we do have some exciting things planned for 2018 and 2019. 2019 is 400 years after the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. I have an Ancestry.com account. No, we are not the same company, Michael. We are much better, and I can tell you why. Mitchell, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. We're not the same company. If you want to be down with us, you have to take our test. Bill, come on over, dude. Get your kit. Go online and get your kit. And hopefully you all who are watching, if you haven't joined our mailing list, join our mailing list, because we've been doing flash sales to people on our mailing list. The holidays are coming up, so we're going to be having specials, and you may not catch it when it's on Facebook, so you definitely want to be part of the mailing list. Go to AfricanAncestry.com and join the mailing list. The Arc Jammers, yes, we're going to be working with the Arc Jammers next year, and hopefully in 2019 as well. So the Arc Jammers is a great organization. They're an international group of musicians and music lovers who are singularly focused on reconnecting African Americans and Africans in the diaspora with Africa. And so you might want to check them out online. Oh, Jamil, thank you. And you know what? We need a testimonial from you. I'm going to get tired of follow up with you, because we get a lot of people who say they've taken another ancestry test and they weren't satisfied and they want to take ours. And people need to know that. We need help. We don't have, yes, you can pay on our website. There's a buy now link there. We don't have hundreds of millions of dollars to do advertising. So you all are our community. You all are our tribe. This is how we get the word out. Oh, okay. So Monica says she did genetic testing and found out she was Kenyan. I wonder what test you took, Monica. Congratulations on that information. It's interesting, because if you took Ancestry.com, for example, they've divided the continent of Africa into 9 regions, and they have 464 African samples for all across the entire 9 regions. So that's about 50 to 60 samples per region. So maybe they told you're from the Kenyan region. I don't know. But congratulations. And if you want to trace other lineages and find out where your ancestry is from, more specifically, we'd love to help you. Salima says, I had different percentage from different regions of Africa. Yeah, well, but what does that tell you? It tells you that you're West African. You already know that you're West African, so I'm not sure why you needed a test for that. We get much more specific than that. Gosh, these are going by so fast now I can't see them. Thank you all so much for commenting, though.
Can
Thomas, thank you. Thank you for being part of our family, and thank you for sharing that story, because people need to know how transformative this information is. And it really is. I mean, we get calls. In fact, I'm going down next week to Fort Lauderdale, Florida with the Broward County school system. There are about 60 middle school students who have taken our test, and we're going to be giving them their results. They did a whole lot of a curriculum over the summer around Africa and STEM, and so now they're going to know. Can I upload DNA? You can share. We can give you information if you have your mitochondrial DNA or your Y chromosome, which, Monica, you're not a man, so you wouldn't have. But the only way we can help you is if you have your mitochondrial DNA. Why don't we give a percentage? We don't give a percentage because that's not the question we're trying to answer. The question that we're answering for Black people is, where were my ancestors specifically before the transatlantic slave trade? Percentages can't answer that question, and percentages are based on a very small number of African samples. Like I said, we have 33,000 African samples, and our closest competitor has 621. So people who are companies that are giving you percentages of ancestry are giving you that so that they can tell you that they're telling you something about your Africanness. But I argue that that's not telling you anything about your Africanness that you didn't already know. But if you are interested in knowing how much of certain ancestries you have, then we're just not the company for you. And you know, there are many other companies out there that can give you that level of information. Oh, Khadijah. Okay, so Ancestry told you that you were 34% Nigeria. They have about 67 Nigerian samples in their database. So that's what that was based on. And I'm glad that you found ours to be more specific. And you took theirs for relative possibilities. Exactly. So that test is great if you want, as long as they have other people in the database with your DNA, whose DNA matches yours, then you can find relatives. So congratulations on that. Just as we were disconnected when we were taken from West and Central Africa and brought to the Americas, that was the worst disconnection you could experience, one would think. But then once we got here, our families were sold apart at every turn, and so we continued to be disconnected. So today we're walking around, we don't know who our cousins are beyond, you know, our nuclear family. And so services that help you to identify other relatives certainly have a value. It's just different than ours. Can you test to see if you are of Hebrew Israelite descent? Not with our test. Unfortunately, we can't give you that type of answer. But we can tell you the present day country and ethnic group that has people living in it today that share your ancestry, Patrick. Thank you for that question. So yeah, just to recap, we were the first in the industry. We're the pioneers of using this technology for Black people. We're Black owned. Everybody who works in our company is Black. We're the only company with Black geneticists. We support Black businesses every way that we can, through our suppliers, as well as promoting them on our social media vehicles. We have the largest database of African lineages in the world. No one can touch us today. Like I said, we're at 33,000. Our closest competitor is at 621. Read the fine print. And then we get you down to a very specific present day country level, as well as ethnic group or tribe level. So you're getting some very specific information. This is a test that Henry Louis Gates used when he launched African American Lives 1 and 2 on PBS. He used our test for finding your roots for some of the Black people. He doesn't really focus on Black people in Africa much anymore. So, but that's fine. We've been on CNN. We've been in every major media outlet. You can go to our YouTube channel and see the reveals of some people that we've tested. People from Q-Tip to Erykah Badu to Dee Dee Bridgewater to church pastors to masjid leaders to kids. I mean, we help everyone. Oh, Ajade, I'm glad that you feel better now that you have some information. We would love for you to join the African Ancestry family. I'm not sure who said Louis Gates was lying. We didn't say Louis Gates was lying, but yeah, I don't know. Everyone always has a comment or an opinion. The top 3 reasons why your identity is invaluable. I mean, there's so many. The top 3. I mean, what do you spend $300 on? Let's talk about that. Do your kids wear Jordans? Do you wear Jordans? Do you have iPhone, iPad? Do you go out to dinner on the weekends? Dinner and a show? The cost of concert tickets these days. There are all kinds of things that we can spend $299 on. The people who have chosen to use AfricanAncestry.com feel that this information is invaluable. It's information that now their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, all the future generations will come into the world knowing who they are. And so they didn't see $299 as a price barrier at all. We've helped over 750,000 people restore their sense of who they are. And that's really powerful. I don't know many other organizations that have done that. Like Khadijah says, families can pitch in because they're all going to share the results. We're out in the community. We're at schools. We're at universities. We're at prayer breakfasts. We're at church services. We're at masjid services. We're at community meetings. We are everywhere for the sole purpose of helping Black people to better understand who we are. And so, I don't know who else you are seeing out in the community doing that type of work either. The other thing that makes this so exciting, yeah, you're right, Jamil. There's been a lot of brainwashing going on. In fact, we're the original victims of identity theft, but that's a whole nother topic that I can come to your organization and talk about. Speaking of organizations, so we have programs for Black History Month. If you have an employee group at your company, we have a church or faith-based program that we can bring into your house of worship. We have an ultimate selfie program for students at all levels, from elementary school through university. And we can customize a program, an African Ancestry experience, where we teach on the historical, scientific, and cultural context of the work that we're doing. Why is this important? Why is everybody talking about DNA testing today? What are the things you should look out for? What are the things you should be careful about? Thank you, Kelly. And we talk about all that, and then we make a testing available for the members of the organization. So I'd be happy to come out, and my team would be happy to come out. Well, everybody comes from Africa. That's not a question. The question is, the question that Black people have, and we're the only people in this country that have the question, is where was my family before? But like I said, before Virginia, before New York, before St. Louis or LA. And so finding the answer to that question has proven to be invaluable for many people. Some people don't think it's valuable, and you can't let them dissuade you from what you believe is important. Carl Johnson says, you did your DNA with you. Did my kids come out that you're from Spain? I'm not sure I understand your comment, but if you traced your paternal lineage and the ancestry came back Spanish, I'm not surprised, because as I was saying earlier, 35% of the paternal lineages of Black men that we trace goes back to Europe, not Africa. which makes sense because white men were fathering children, slaveholders, slave traders, everyone white involved in the slave trade at some point, the men were having their way with the women. And so it's no wonder that we see British results, we see Spanish, Portuguese results, we see German results, because it was the colonizers that were doing that, behaving that way. $2.99 covers one test, which covers one lineage. And so those results are the same for everyone in the family on that lineage. So when Antoinette asks, why are the fees so high? Antoinette, let's have a conversation. Tell me what you think this information is worth. Why do you think that the fees are high? Do you feel like it's not worth that? How much would you like to pay? Let's talk about that. Let's unpack this a little bit so we can help you to see the tests that we provide, what the results are, and the value of those results. I'd be happy to chat that up with you on the Facebook Live. But we don't see the fees as high. They're higher than our competitors, but our competitors don't give you anything. You pay the competitors to tell you that you're African. And I already told everybody that earlier on the Facebook Live for free. So you get that bonus with African ancestry. We tell you that you're African for free. Oh my goodness. But again, every test answers a different question. Every product is not for everybody. Every company does not sell the same thing. And that is the case in this industry as well. There is a company that will tell you who the people that you're related to are based on your genetics, provided that those people are in the database too. There's a company that'll tell you your health traits and your genetic traits. They're based on your DNA. There's a company for that. And then there's a company that will tell black people where exactly in Africa you come from. Are your people Mandinka? Are your people Akan? Are your people Fulani? Are your people Tuareg? Are they Berber? Are they Kikuyu? Are they Zulu? So we just all are answering a different question. That's all. It's best to get my father to do the test for me. So I can't see your picture, but if you're a woman, you need your father to take the test for you, or your brother, because you don't have the Y chromosome necessary to get those results. Hey, I preach. Bahi, I know I butchered your name, but preach. Yeah, I'll let you guys answer those kinds of questions. I've already said my piece. Somebody asked something. Oh, that was you, Ty, responding. So, yes, we're going to have a holiday sale coming up at the end of November. But again, thank you, Bill. Oh, well, all right. I'll add that to my list of things that people spend $299 on. Okay. Can your father's brother take the test for you? Yes, he can. Your father's brother has two choices. He can get your grandmother's line. He can get your grandfather's line. It just depends on which one you want to know. I say you get both and get a full picture of that side of the family tree. Okay, so that herb example discombobulated me a little bit. I must admit, I'm trying to regain my composure because I really want to be laughing on the outside like I am on the inside. So yeah, tell me what else. Tell me what else you want to know. Oh, Chanel, you are so welcome. Thank you for being part of our family. And hopefully you've gone, all of you who've taken the test, who have chimed in to say you've taken the test, hopefully you've gone on to the online community. We have a new Facebook group just for people who've taken the African ancestry test. If you've taken our competitors, you're just not down with this part of the family. We still love you as black folks, but you're not part of our crew. We want you to be part of our crew. How do we get the kit? Yes, Christy, go to actually, you can bypass that. Go to shop.africanancestry.com. shop.africanancestry.com. If you get two kits, you get $50 off, and so that's a great price. Your husband, you, Christy, can trace your maternal line, but your husband, he's going to have to choose, or maybe not, he can get both, between his maternal and his paternal. Please read the website carefully, or please read the product descriptions carefully. Our test does not give percentages. We just don't give percentages. That's not what we do up in here. And so if you want percentages, that this is not the test for you. But if you want specificity, if you want to know who your people are, then this is a test for you. Okay, if you want to have African Ancestry come out to one of your events or work with your organization, please contact Nicole Taylor. You can get to her through our website, but she's in Taylor at AfricanAncestry.com, especially if you're looking for something for Black History Month programming. And you know, we're going to be in Ghana at the end of February with a trip sponsored by Birthright Journeys. Shout out to Diallo Sumbri. They're taking the Go-Go Band, Backyard Band from DC to Ghana to play concerts at Cape Coast Castle, the Door of No Return, Labadi Beach, and the university there. Our test is extremely accurate. So in addition to having the largest number of largest number of African lineages in the world, our confidence level is 95%. So we have a very tight margin of error. Our lab destroys the DNA once a result is found. And when we give you a result, we tell you our level of confidence in the result. So we tell you if it's an identical match or how closely the match is. So that's about our accuracy. That's how that works. Yes, Backyard is going to Ghana, Jamil. Go on to the adinkragroup.com and get the information. You might want to rearrange your trip because that's going to be the truth. Okay. Poe, we don't have any referral deals right now. We try to pass all of our savings on directly to the customer, but we certainly appreciate and value word of mouth. Okay, I missed the other ones, but yeah, so stay tuned. There's a lot going on coming up. I'm going to have some really, really good information hopefully next week, knock on wood, a special announcement. So you want to make sure the Ghana trip is the adinkragroup.com. We'll post it in the feed or whatever it's called. So check us out next Wednesday for our really big announcement. Hopefully it comes through. It's going to come through. I've claimed it. I'm going to be there this weekend, and I'll be back to tell you guys all about it on Wednesday. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please hit us up on our Facebook page or on our website. Kweku. Nice. We do give information on the haplogroups for maternal lineages. So we use the HVS 1, 2, and 3, and we provide the haplogroup information. All right, I'm glad your mom's doing it. So when she does it, she will have done it for the whole rest of the family. I'm not going to keep you guys. I've been rambling on. Thank you, everybody who posted and gave me a question or gave me a comment or helped defend the value of this invaluable information. I appreciate you very much. And we'll talk again next week. Take care.